In 1943, on a family vacation in New Mexico, a scientist named Edwin Land took a photograph of his 3-year-old daughter, and she asked him a question so simple, it changed the world. Why can't I see the picture now? Most parents would smile and explain that film takes time. Edwin Land went for a walk, and by the time he came back, he had invented instant photography in his head. Within 5 years, that walk became a company that would sell $1 billion of magic, a camera that spat out a finished photo before your eyes. Its founder would hold more patents than almost anyone alive and become the personal hero of a young man named Steve Jobs. And then, at the peak of its powers, after winning the single largest patent case in American history, Polaroid would collapse so completely that today the name survives only on cheap gadgets that have nothing to do with what made it great. This is the story of how the company that taught the world it couldn't wait ran out of time. To understand Polaroid, you have to understand Edwin Land, because for 40 years they were the same thing. Land was a Harvard dropout, a self-taught obsessive who was less an executive than a wizard. He didn't chase markets, he chased impossible problems and then built companies around the answers. His first was light itself, polarizing filters that cut glare, the Polaroid that gave the company its name. But his masterpiece was that walk in New Mexico. To make a photo develop in your hand, Land had to fold an entire darkroom, the chemistry, the timing, the film, into a single sheet of paper. Experts said it was impossible. In 1948, he did it anyway. The first Polaroid camera went on sale that Christmas and sold out in minutes. People had never seen anything like it. A photograph appearing out of nothing, in under a minute, in your own hands. It wasn't a product. It was a magic trick you could buy. And for the next 30 years, Polaroid would be the most magical company in America. Here's the thing history forgets. Before there was Apple, there was Polaroid. And before there was Steve Jobs, there was Edwin Land. Jobs idolized him. He called Land a national treasure and flew across the country just to meet him. And you can see why. Land ran Polaroid exactly the way Jobs would later run Apple. He obsessed over design and secrecy. He staged theatrical product launches years before the keynote existed. He believed technology should feel like art, and that customers didn't know what they wanted until you showed them. Land even built Polaroid's own campus of research labs, stuffed with brilliant people chasing the impossible. And it worked. Through the 50s and 60s, Polaroid grew into a cultural force. The camera at every birthday, every road trip, every backstage. Artists used it. Andy Warhol was obsessed with it. And it was all building toward Land's ultimate creation. The camera he'd been dreaming of his whole life. In 1972, he finally revealed it, and it nearly bankrupted the company that made it. It was called the SX70, and even today it looks like the future. A sleek, folding, leather and chrome camera that collapsed flat enough to slip in a jacket, then unfolded into a single lens reflex that ejected a photo which developed in the open air, right in front of you. No peeling, no waiting in the dark. Land had spent hundreds of millions of dollars and years of research to make it. He put it on the cover of Life magazine. Investors were so convinced Polaroid was the future that they drove the stock to $149 a share, valuing a camera company at levels that sound absurd for the era. And for a while, it delivered. By 1978, Polaroid employed 21,000 people and controlled the instant photography market almost completely. Land was a titan. The magic was real. But the SX70 was also the beginning of a dangerous idea inside Polaroid, that the answer to every problem was another impossible, beautiful, ruinously expensive machine. And Land was about to bet the company on exactly that. Its name was Polavision. Land's next impossible dream was instant home movies. No processing, no lab. Shoot a home movie and watch it minutes later. He called it Polavision, and he was certain it would be bigger than the SX70. He was catastrophically wrong. Polavision arrived in 1977, and it was a machine out of time. It cost around $675. The image quality was poor. The film ran only a few minutes and had no sound, and it launched into a market that was about to be steamrolled by something cheaper, longer, and instantly re-recordable: the videotape cassette. Consumers didn't want instant film movies. They wanted a VCR. Polavision was a disaster measured in tens of millions of dollars, and it exposed the flaw at the heart of Land's genius. He was so in love with the elegance of instant film that he couldn't see the world moving towards something else entirely. In 1980, Edwin Land, the wizard, the founder, the hero, was pushed out of the company he built, and with him went the one thing Polaroid could never replace: the nerve to abandon the magic, which is exactly what the next decade would demand. Because while Polaroid was losing its founder, it was also fighting the war of its life. Back in 1976, the other giant of film, Kodak, had launched its own instant camera, a near copy of Polaroid's crown jewel. So Polaroid did what Land always did. It fought for the impossible. It sued Kodak for patent infringement, and it did not let go. The battle lasted 15 years, and in 1991, Polaroid won, completely. The court found Kodak had infringed 7 of Polaroid's patents, threw Kodak out of the instant camera business entirely, and ordered it to pay $909 million, the largest patent judgment in American history at the time. It should have been Polaroid's greatest triumph. That same year, its revenue hit an all-time peak of $3 billion. And that same year, Edwin Land died. It looked like the top of the mountain. It was actually the edge of a cliff. Because while Polaroid was busy winning a 15-year war over instant film, a different technology had quietly rendered the entire battlefield obsolete. Nobody was fighting for film anymore. The world was going digital, and Polaroid, the company that invented seeing your picture instantly, was about to be the last one to see it coming. Here is the tragedy and the irony that defines the whole story. Polaroid saw digital coming. It had the engineers. It even built early digital cameras. But the company was addicted to the thing that made it magic: instant film. Because film is where the money was. Every Polaroid camera was cheap. The profit came from selling packs of film again and again, forever. Digital photos had no film. No film meant no razor and blade profit, and the people running Polaroid could not bring themselves to walk away from the golden goose, even as they watched it die. So they hesitated. They protected film. And by the time they committed to digital, the market had been taken by Sony, by Canon, by companies that had nothing to lose. Film sales didn't decline. They fell off a cliff. And in October of 2001, Polaroid, the company Edwin Land built from a child's question, the company that beat Kodak and inspired Steve Jobs, filed for bankruptcy. The name was sold off, licensed out, and slapped onto TVs and cheap cameras made by other people. The magic was gone. What was left was a logo. So, what killed Polaroid? Not a lack of vision. Polaroid had more vision than almost any company in history. It invented the future of instant imaging and then handed the blueprint to everyone who came after. Steve Jobs took Land's playbook and built the most valuable company on Earth. Instagram took the Polaroid photo, the white frame, the instant square, and turned it into a global language. Everything Polaroid dreamed of came true. It just came true for other people. Because the same obsession that let Edwin Land fold a dark room into a sheet of paper, the belief that instant film was the most magical thing in the world, was the exact belief that wouldn't let his company move on when the world did. Polaroid didn't die because it couldn't see the future. It died because it had already fallen in love with the one it built. And that's the cruelest lesson of all. Sometimes the thing that makes you great is the thing you can't let go of long enough to survive.